What's up, magical homies? Welcome back to the realm. In recent times, I kind of been struggling to decide what kind of videos I want to do. I was scrolling the Steam store looking for inspiration when I fell down the Souls-like rabbit hole. There was a time there were less than 10 games in that genre, but now there's just dozens to go through. One caught my eye because it was an isometric Souls-like game. And there may have been a couple already that claimed to be Souls-like, but this looked like it actually delivered. And what I found was the most intriguing Souls-like game yet. And I'll tell you what that game is if you leave me a like. The game is called Exanima, and it's an isometric Souls-like game with physics-based combat. There will be times you are noodle arming a couple dried up fleshlights to death, and it gets very whimsical. The game is hard and directionless, which adds to the dark, low fantasy setting. There was times I stalked my way through the darkness slowly because I was terrified of enemies catching me by surprise. Or maybe I'm just straight up bitch made. Either way, Exanima is a surprisingly fun isometric Souls-like game with roguelike loot elements. Roguelike loot meaning every playthrough you will find different items with different stats in different chests all over. It's randomized almost. Starting off in the game, you spawn in a dungeon. The Knights of the Round Table seem to toss you down after using every one of your holes. You awake with a torch and the clothes you equipped when you created your character. The game offers no direction for you, so you can only assume your goal is to explore the dungeon and figure out what the hell is going on. Or at least where to get a better sword. And for games like this, sometimes you don't need a grand purpose to save the world. Like, not everyone is going to change the world or have any kind of matter to anybody at all. And why do you want that responsibility and that seemingly chest-crushing stress that comes with being that important? Just sit back and explore dungeons and enjoy killing the undead in Exanima. Exanima is an interesting game because of how you interact with the world. When equipping the torch, you have to open your inventory and drag it to your character or storage. There are many ways you can use items in the world, and those same items can find ways to affect you if you aren't careful. From using items to hold down switches, to setting items out to trip sprinting enemies, and even moving objects out the way because they block doors and passages. There are quite a few physics games out there, but I have yet to find one that uses physics-based combat to make a unique Souls-like game, and to deliver an experience where every time you encounter an enemy, the combat's going to be different because of the physics. Combat in Exanima is pretty tough. Unlike most Souls-like or even action RPGs, the game automatically blocks and parries enemy attacks. As long as you aren't clicking for an attack, it will block and do what it can to avoid max damage. I've seen a couple games handle blocking and parries on its own, but for physics-based combat, it feels immersive. I will be deep in combat and keeping in mind my character's shield or weapon, as well as where the enemy is striking, having to make sure I have room or positioning so it can automatically block. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. The game has passives you can level up to enhance your blocks and even incorporate attacks in as well, making you the ultimate warrior. On top of melee combat, there's magic abilities, and being a sorcerer myself, I'm excited to become Exanima Sorcerer. Unfortunately, at the time of writing this script, I sucked too hard at the game to level up my magic. You do start with the push ability, and if you ready it up, it can be woven into attacks. Sometimes scaring away enemies so you have to chase them down or fight them later on. It's hilarious to force push those necrotic fleshlights into objects because of the ragdoll and physics and whatnot. I once got an enemy stuck in some boxes and he just kept being a floppy noodle in the box. Exanima's combat can be endlessly fun if you enjoy toying with ragdolls. It gives me flashbacks to my time in like GTA 4 or Dark Messiah of Might and Magic. Seeing how hard I can launch a corpse in weird ways just brings me great fun. Fighting enemies is a blast, and I enjoy the combat learning curve. I even found myself in the arena mode the arena mode the game offers. Arena mode? What is that, you are wondering? Well, if you're not wondering then. Please, can you wonder what arena mode is? I will let you take back your like. Please ask what arena mode is. Arena mode is a separate mode you create a character for. You manage a company requiring you to hire people to fight and help you heal or train. There is a merchant to buy gear from, and you can even equip your company members' gear as well. There are different types of fights to partake in, and you must level your company through fighting in matches and tournaments and stuff. It's a nice change of pace from the dungeon crawler aspect of the game. And to be honest, if you're a fan of the combat but not the exploration, then arena mode might be for you. It allows you to get the chance to get better at combat. The mode mostly focuses on that aspect, the combat, as well as a little bit of resource management. Arena mode is definitely a good change of pace and offers another endlessly replayable mode, complementing the roguelike-ish dungeon crawler mode the base game is in. Exanima is a fun isometric ARPG with difficult enough but easy to learn combat. Playing this game for a couple hours, I really am now happy I found this scrolling the Steam store, but I have some criticisms. It's mostly the fact it's called an isometric Souls-like game. Typically with games in that genre, there are certain aspects of the game that will be found in others of the same genre. With Souls-like games, you usually find shrines/camps to heal at and to level up. And then when you die, you leave some form of souls that you use those to level up also. There are boss fights with patterns and mechanics to learn, and it's easy to die in the game. That's typically what you see in Souls-like games. There are other systems too, like weapon leveling/crafting. In a lot of Souls-like games, you combine two of the same weapon to make better, or you just use your collected whatever to level your gear up. We can call that whatever Souls. Regardless of which systems are common in the genre, Exanima lacks a lot, if not all of those systems. The issue with the developers calling this game a Souls-like game is when players search for games like that, like the games they are seeking, like Hellpoint, Lords of the Fallen, Nioh, Remnants from the Ashes, and Lies of P. When they're in Souls-like, they're looking for a Souls-like game, they're looking for a Souls-like game. People seeking ARPGs do not typically choose Souls-like games because they want a story, cutscenes, or just something different. They want a more laid-back mechanics to enjoy versus everything always being on the line and letting your guard down for 1 second ruins your progress. I think a lot of games on Steam would have succeeded more if they labeled their games more accurately. Not saying this is a failed game or anything, but I feel like it could be more popular if it was labeled as an not action ARPG, an isometric ARPG. It could be more popular. It should be. Maybe it will be one day. Who the fuck knows? All I know is that Exanimus is a fun and interesting game. It takes place in a dark, low fantasy world that creates an eerie ambiance. The isometric aspect of the game does not get in the way of enjoying the game once you learn the camera control and mechanics. The learning curve is kinda steep, but the game offers enough variety to combat compounded with the physics-based gameplay. Every encounter will be unique and different than your last experience. If that isn't enough, go check out Arena Mode and build a legacy in the arena. Exanima gives players a lot of variety in a seemingly simple ARPG. I'm glad to have found it on Steam. I hope in this video I highlighted the interesting aspects about this game and it piqued some viewers' interest. Did you play Exanima? Are you surprised there's an RPG with physics-based combat that actually works well? Let me know below. Check out Exanima with the link in the description. If there are games with interesting gameplay or mechanics you want to be known, then suggest them in the comments or join the Discord. Here at The Realm, I want to offer a place to find cool games, talk about gaming, and play with other gamers seeking a chill place to hang. Subscribe if that interests you at all, or if you just like watching gameplay and finding new games. Peace out, everyone. Stay magical.